Look, I know that title sounds insane. Like it was clickbait made up for a sick corner of the internet. I wish to God it was. But no, this has been my actual life for the past few weeks, and I'm still trying to process it all, so I need an outside perspective. I never ever thought I'd be the main character in a hospital drama so toxic that I'd have to stand in a sterile HR office and actually say these words out loud. No, I'm not having an affair with that man. He's my father. It feels like a line from a cheap soap opera, right? But unfortunately, it was a real scene from my real life. And this story started with a hug, an inside joke, and someone whose imagination ran way too wild. So, for some context, I'm a 27-year-old social worker at a small but constantly chaotic city hospital. My job isn't glamorous. There are no life-saving surgeries. I'm the person behind the scenes. I help elderly patients with no family find nursing homes. I coordinate emergency placements for domestic violence victims who come through the ER. Sometimes my job is just to sit with someone at their absolute rock bottom, hold their hand and say, "I'm here." It's emotionally draining, but I love it. Feels important. And here's the kicker. My dad, who is 51, works at the same hospital. He's the head day shift nurse in the emergency room. Everyone knows him. My dad is the kind of guy you'd call a rock. He's quiet, steady, and he always brings a packed lunch my mom made for him. To the younger nurses, he's a hospital dad. The one who will patiently show them the ropes. The one who takes the toughest assignments without a complaint. To me, he's not just my dad. He's my best friend. My mom always jokes that we have our own language, built on inside jokes and knowing glances. We have this running gag where, if I want to humorously ask for some spending money, I'll say, "Hey, I'm ordering the most expensive steak on the menu tonight. It's your turn to treat." And he'll just chuckle, pat my head and say, "In your dreams, kiddo." A harmless joke. A quick hug between a father and daughter in a busy hallway. A small moment of connection in a stressful day. I had no idea that, in someone else's eyes, that moment was proof of a disgusting affair. It was a Tuesday from hell. The ER was a war zone. I got called down for a difficult case. An elderly man in his 80s found wandering and confused, with no ID and no known relatives. I spent almost 2 hours down there, surrounded by the beeping of monitors, the sounds of distress, and the thick, sharp smell of antiseptic that hangs in the air. Finally, I got him sorted with a temporary placement. Before heading back to my office, I passed by the main nurse's station where my dad was reviewing a chart. He looked up and saw me, and a small, tired smile crossed his face. "All done?" he asked. "Yeah. I'm beat," I sighed. "Don't be late coming home tonight. Your mom's making your favorite curry." My eyes lit up. "For real? In that case, I'm also ordering that expensive steak for delivery. You're paying." I walked over and we shared a quick hug. It was one of those, "I'm proud of you / you got this" hugs, a nonverbal energy boost. I gave his back a pat and walked away. I didn't notice the new nurse, let's call her Chloe, standing a few feet away, her eyes glued on us. I didn't even know her name at the time. To me, she was just another new face in a sea of them. A few hours later, I was back in my office trying to catch up on paperwork when Brenda, a veteran nurse I adore, walked in. She half closed the door behind her, a signal that this wasn't just casual chatter. "Hey kiddo," she started, her voice low. "You need to know something." "What's up, Brenda?" "That new nurse in the ER, Chloe. She's been running her mouth." My heart rate picked up a little. In a hospital, running her mouth could mean anything from medical gossip to something far worse. She's telling people. She thinks the ER charge nurse, your dad, is having an affair with a young social worker. Brenda paused, looking me straight in the eye. "And she thinks it's you." For a second, my brain just short-circuited. It was like hearing a sentence in a language I didn't understand. I blinked. "Wait, you're telling me she thinks I'm sleeping with my dad?" Brenda just nodded, her face a mixture of pity and disgust. "She told 2 of the nursing students she saw it with her own eyes. That you 2 were being all touchy-feely, and that she heard you talking to him about money, like some kind of sugar baby." My world screeched to a halt. The steak joke, the supportive hug, it had been twisted into something so vile, so perverted. I didn't know whether to laugh at the sheer absurdity of it or burst into tears from the profound sense of violation. A cold, quiet fury started spreading in my chest. My first instinct was to march right down to the ER, find Chloe, and scream in her face. But then my rational brain took over. This wasn't a high school playground. This was a medical facility. And this accusation wasn't just petty gossip. It was a slanderous, career-damaging lie targeting 2 employees. I considered my options. Confront her privately. I could pull her aside and say, "Hey, that man you think is my lover is actually my father." She'd apologize, and then what? Would she be genuinely sorry? Or just sorry she got caught? What about the people she'd already told? Would the correction ever reach them? Or would I forever be that social worker who sleeps with her boss in the minds of some? The risk was too high, and it didn't address the root of the problem. An employee who spreads malicious rumors. Ignore it? Absolutely not. Silence is permission. Silence would let the rumor fester and grow. Silence would eat away at me and tarnish the reputation my father had spent 20 years building. Report it to HR. This was the only path. It was official. It created a paper trail. It held everyone accountable. It was the professional way to handle a professional problem. I wasn't doing it for revenge. I was doing it because I believe there are lines that you do not cross, especially in a place where trust and ethics are everything. I opened my email, took a deep breath, and started typing. I laid out the facts concisely and without emotion. I named my source with Brenda's permission, stated what I had been told, and requested a formal meeting to address this defamatory behavior. I hit send. The click of the mouse felt heavy but also liberating. HR moved fast. A meeting was set for the end of the next day. Me, my dad, Chloe, and the head of human resources. I got there early and sat bolt upright in the uncomfortable chair, my heart pounding against my ribs. My dad came in next, looking confused and weary. I had only told him there was a serious workplace misunderstanding that needed to be cleared up. Then Chloe walked in. There wasn't a hint of remorse on her face. If anything, she looked confident, almost smug. She sat down, crossed her arms, and looked like she was a star witness about to blow the lid off a massive scandal. She didn't even look at me. The HR manager, a woman named Ms. Davis, began the meeting. "Thank you all for coming. Chloe, do you know why you've been asked to this meeting?" Chloe nodded sharply. "I think I do," she said, her voice dripping with judgment. "And I think it's necessary. I've witnessed inappropriate behavior in the workplace, and I couldn't stay silent. It's disgusting. They don't even try to hide it. I'm honestly shocked that a man who seems so respectable could be involved in something like this." She shot a contemptuous look at my father. My dad, still completely in the dark, cleared his throat. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring to." I stayed silent. I let her dig her own grave. Ms. Davis looked at Chloe. "Could you please elaborate on the inappropriate behavior you witnessed?" "Yesterday in the ER," Chloe began, her voice full of certainty. "I saw him and her," she said, jerking her chin in my direction, getting all touchy-feely right at the nurse's station. "Then I heard her talking about money, demanding he pay for an expensive steak. It's clearly an improper relationship. A man in his position shouldn't be taking advantage of a young employee like that." The room went dead silent. I could see the gears turning in my dad's head. The confusion on his face slowly melted into disbelief, and then into a look of profound, gut-wrenching hurt. And then he spoke. His voice wasn't loud, but it echoed in the cold, quiet room. "She's my daughter." The air in the room froze. The self-righteous confidence on Chloe's face shattered like glass. Her skin went from a healthy pink to a pasty white, then almost green. Her lips started to tremble. What? "No, that's not possible." "She is my biological daughter," my dad repeated, his voice firm now, laced with pain. I didn't know," Chloe stammered, her eyes wide with horror. "I just thought. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I had no idea." Ms. Davis held up a hand, cutting her off. Her face was a mask of professional neutrality. "All right. Thank you both for coming in. We will handle the rest of this internally. You're free to go." We left in silence. I don't know what else HR said to Chloe after we left. I just know one thing. The next day, when I logged into the hospital's email system, Chloe's name was gone. She had been terminated. Hospital policy states that any employee in their 90-day probationary period can be let go without a detailed cause. And they had exercised that right. That night I told my mom the whole story. I expected her to be furious on our behalf. But she wasn't. She just sighed, a troubled look on her face. "You should have just talked to the girl privately," my mom said softly. "You knew she was on probation. Brenda mentioned she's a single mom, raising a kid all by herself. Now she's lost her job. That poor girl." I stared at my mom, unable to believe what I was hearing. "Poor girl? You're calling her the poor girl? What about me, Mom? What about Dad? I was accused of being my own father's mistress at my job. Dad's reputation, our family's honor, was smeared. Don't we get any sympathy?" "I didn't mean it like that, sweetie." "But..." "No buts, Mom." I cut her off, my voice shaking. "Your kindness is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't apply here. What she did wasn't an innocent mistake. It was a choice. She chose to believe the worst. She chose to spread a vicious lie instead of asking a simple question. A difficult life doesn't give you a free pass to destroy someone else's." The conversation ended on a tense note. I get my mom. She's a compassionate person. But this time I couldn't agree with her. I wasn't happy that Chloe lost her job. I'm not the kind of person who celebrates someone else's misfortune. But I was relieved. Relieved that the system worked. Relieved that my workplace proved it wouldn't tolerate that kind of toxicity. I kept thinking about her apology in that room. I didn't know. That wasn't an apology. It was an excuse. She wasn't sorry for inventing a disgusting story. She was sorry she got the target wrong. If I had actually been a young employee having an affair with a married superior, would she have felt sorry for spreading the rumor then? Or would she have felt like a hero? The truth doesn't always come to light as quickly and cleanly as it did for me. If that rumor had been allowed to spread, it would have taken on a life of its own, growing and twisting with each retelling. In the days since, my dad and I still have our dinners, but something has shifted. There's an invisible awkwardness hanging in the air. My dad is sad. Not because Chloe was fired, but because he feels ashamed. "I should have made it a point to introduce you to everyone properly from the start," he said, his voice low. I tried to brush it off with a weak smile. "Dad, it's not your fault. It's the fault of someone who chose to look at something innocent and assign it a dirty meaning. If people want to believe the worst, they'll find a way, even if the truth is staring them in the face." But deep down it affected me too. Now, whenever my dad and I are near each other at the hospital, I'm painfully aware of my actions. A pat on the shoulder? An inside joke? Is someone watching? Are they thinking? That rumor stole the easy, natural comfort of our relationship in a public space. It planted a toxic seed of doubt and self-consciousness into one of the purest relationships in my life. And that brings me here, typing this out at 2 a.m. I don't regret my decision. I believe I did the right, necessary thing. Chloe's actions weren't just wrong. They were dangerous and showed a staggering lack of judgment, a quality you can't have in a healthcare professional. But my mom's words still echo in my head. She's a single mom. Did I ruin someone's life? Or did I simply let her face the natural consequences of her own actions? Is compassion always the right answer? Or is it sometimes more important to draw a hard line in the sand and defend your own honor? So, I'm asking you, Reddit, if you were me, what would you have done? Would you have let it go? Would you have chosen the gentle approach and talked to her hoping she'd understand? Or would you have gone the professional route, even knowing it could cost a single mother her livelihood? Ida? Am I the asshole for following procedure and not being sympathetic to the person who accused me of the most disgusting thing imaginable?